$1,000 a day in sales, working just 2 hours a day. I know that sounds like a crazy, lofty promise, but I have seen this duplicated over and over again with the entrepreneurs who follow the process that you're gonna learn in today's lesson. If you're new here, hey, I'm Ryan Daniel Moran. I help entrepreneurs build million-dollar businesses. We do that by getting 4 products to 25 sales a day each at a $30 price point. That is a $1 million business. Today is step 5 in that process. It's an 8-step process to getting a business to 100 sales a day. Today, we're going to talk about the process for getting to a consistent 25 sales a day. And I tell people that once they're at 25 sales a day on one product, they're halfway to $1 million. Now, that math doesn't math, but the point is that we're building a machine. We're building a machine that takes products to 25 sales a day. Once we build the machine, we can introduce products 2, 3, and 4 much faster than it took us to get the first product to 25 sales a day. I compare this to building a highway. When you build a highway, it takes a tremendous amount of effort and money and planning to get one car on the road. It takes years to build a highway just so you can get one car on there. But once it's built, how much energy does it take to put the second car on the road and the third car? It takes almost no energy. That's the purpose of this part of the process. We are building the highway. We're building the machine that gets every product to 25 sales a day. And once we have that completed, we can introduce product number 2 and it will get to 25 sales a day much faster. But first, we've got to do the work of building the machine. This is step 5 of an 8-step process. We've talked about picking your person, building a launch audience, launching and taking sales, and getting reviews. Now we're going to take all of those pieces and put it into a recipe. And it's a recipe that you can follow until you're at a consistent 25 sales a day. Now, I know that most people, when they're starting a business, are doing this on the side. They're doing it part-time. So how do you do this while working 2 hours a day? This is going to be a nights and weekends thing for a while. But if you could do it consistently for about 2 hours a day, then you can build the machine to getting to 25 sales a day. 25 sales a day, depending on your price point, is going to be somewhere between $750 and $1,000 a day in sales. And let me be very clear about something. If all you ever did was build this machine one time, and all you ever did was get one product to 25 sales a day or $1,000 a day in sales, you've got a mid-6-figure business. That is a big deal. If nothing else happens, if you never quit your job, you never buy the jets, you're never the big time influencer entrepreneur on social media, but you've got a 6-figure business that has 30% profit margins and makes you $100,000 a year, and you invest that consistently, guess what? You've got a retirement plan. Guess what? You've got a retirement plan after about 6 months of work that is more profitable than what most people build up for 30 years. This stuff matters. Some people will skip over these steps because they're in such a rush to have the $1 million business or have the big thing that sets them free. But I want you to know that if all you did was build a machine that took you to 25 sales a day, you've got a very profitable business that beats most people's retirement plan and has the foundation to become a 7-figure business. So this is the part of the process where we will have the distribution and the foundation to launch additional products. First, why 25 sales a day? Well, the goal is 100 sales a day because that's a $1 million business. But for most people, 100 sales a day or a $1 million business is too big of a chasm for them to believe. It's hard to believe that you can have a $1 million business or you can be a millionaire when you are just starting out. That is often too big of a mountain to climb. But everyone can get to 25 sales a day. Everyone can build a process that they do every single day, even if it's on the super part-time, that gets them to about $1,000 a day. If you do that, then the day that you hit 25 sales a day consistently, this little voice that sounds a lot like mine, it sounds a lot like this guy you listen to on YouTube, is going to come in and say, hey, It just takes 4 of these to have $1 million business. That's when you will really believe that you can have a 7-figure business. When I was building my first brand, which ultimately became my first $1 million business, I had been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, but it took me that long to build a process to having $1 million business. I thought that the product that I released capped out at about 25 sales a day. I believed that because we got the #1 bestseller badge on Amazon when we were doing about 25 sales a day. So we just assumed that's as big as it's ever gonna get. So when we hit 25 a day, we assumed that it would plateau forever, and we needed 4 of these products in order to have $1 million business or 100 sales a day. That turned out to not be true because Amazon is a lot bigger than it was in 2013 when I first started doing this process. In fact, as of today, Walmart.com now has the volume that Amazon did back in 2013 and 2014. So even if you're not selling on Amazon, if you're selling on Walmart.com, this process still works. The e-commerce landscape has gotten much bigger than it was 10 years ago. So that means there's a lot more upside on pretty much every product that you release in the market. But I want you to keep your focus on 25 sales a day, because once you get there, it unlocks the belief that you can build $1 million business. So what we need to do is put this into a process that you can wake up every day and say, if I do these things, I will have incremental progress in my business. And if you do that over 90 days, then we'll have built this machine that takes your first product to 25 sales a day. And that's that unlock where we know that we can launch product 2, 3, and 4 and have $1 million business. That is why 25 sales a day matters. Now, this part of the series is going to be the most tactical, meaty part of this entire series because we're building the machine. Once we've built the machine, everything happens faster and easier. Sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months to build this machine. So we're gonna go into the steps and the tactics that you need to do every day for 90 to 180 days for you to have this machine of 25 sales a day. Once it's built, the rest of the process happens much faster. That's why once you're at 25 sales a day, you're halfway to $1 million, because once we've got the machine, we can release products much faster. We have to create the pipeline of getting every product to 25 sales a day. That looks like work, and we can't skip over steps. The people who skip over steps end up having this really wonk machine that keeps them so busy that they can't do it in their part-time and they end up giving up. So how would I build a machine if I only had 2 hours a day? I'm gonna share that with you, but it's not just what I would do. It's also what I have my clients and partners do, and it predictably takes them to $1,000 a day in sales and puts them on the road to $1 million business. We call this machine the flywheel. And the flywheel is the machine that will take you to 25 sales a day. The flywheel machine has 3 parts. It's the content that you post, it's the leads that you capture, and it's the relationships that you build. That's where we're gonna put our focus every day until we're at 25 sales a day. Now, if we've got 2 hours a day to work on our business, here's how we're gonna break that down. For 30 minutes, spend the time to gather what I call proof. What is proof? Proof is demonstration that your product works. What's the best form of proof? It's the reviews and feedback that you get from your customers. So in the last video, we talked about getting to 100 reviews. I talked about how we celebrate each of those 100 reviews. And I also mentioned how every review that you get can turn into a piece of content. The beauty of content is that it can be used in multiple different ways. So if you spend 30 minutes going through your reviews, the emails that you get from customers, even text messages from friends, you can put together a piece of proof that is persuasive to the people who will see it. So your job in the first 30 minutes is simply to gather the different pieces of proof that you can turn into content. Now, this might require that you reach out to some people and ask for feedback. This might require that you text a few friends that you know have bought your product. This might require that you go through old reviews and take screenshots of the best pieces from each of those reviews. However you do it, spend 30 minutes just gathering proof. I like to do this by having a folder on my laptop where every time I get a positive piece of feedback, I'm just dumping it into that folder. And now when I wake up to gather proof, I've got stuff to work with. Every morning I've got pieces, old or new, that I can play with for the next part of the process. The next 30 minutes of your day, we're turning that proof into a piece of content. That content is going to be posted wherever we can consistently build an audience. For most people, that is Instagram or TikTok, that is podcasting and YouTube. Wherever you are interacting with people as you are building your business, we're going to post that piece of proof. Spend 30 minutes making 1 or 2 pieces of content that is bathed in proof. It comes with the recommendation of other people who have bought the product. It comes with positive feedback from that email that you got from a customer, or it comes from a text message from a customer or a friend that used your product. Turn that into a piece of content and link that content to your lead capture page. In step 2 of this 8-part process, we talked about the value of building up a small audience of people who are waiting in line to buy your product. In that video, I emphasize how much runway you can get from a few hundred people who raise their hand and say that they want your product. When we post a piece of content and we link back to that lead capture page, we're now building that hot list of people that wants to buy our product either now or in the future. So with the first hour of our day, we're gathering proof and we're turning that into content and linking back to our lead capture. In 1 hour, we've done a few things. 1, we've gathered proof that looks really good to potential customers, but it also gives you more conviction about your product. I work with entrepreneurs who sometimes doubt their product or doubt that they're good enough to have $1 million business. When part of your day is going out and gathering the positive momentum, even if it's small, you start to believe that, oh, actually, I am making a difference in people's lives. Oh, actually, this business does matter. Oh, look at these people who have voluntarily given me positive feedback. That builds your conviction, and it also builds the trust that you have with the people who see that content. We then post that piece of content, which builds our awareness. It builds our audience. And even if it doesn't turn into customers right away, it plants seeds in the people who are seeing that content. I don't care if your content is being seen by 100 people. I don't care if your content is only going on your personal Facebook page and you're seeing friends and family who are saying, man, this person is onto something. The more that you're posting this type of proof, the more that you're planting seeds that you're committed to this, that your product works, and that you're in this for the long term. The next thing it does is it builds leads. And even if this process is only adding 2 or 3 leads a day, over a period of a few weeks or a few months, you're adding a few hundred people to that list. Those people are the most likely to become customers and the most likely to give you reviews in the future. This is the flywheel. The flywheel is we're gathering proof, we're posting that proof, and then we're building leads from the proof that we are posting. And if we do that every day, we're growing our audience, we're gathering more and more proof that our product works, and we're building a bigger and bigger list of leads that is going to turn into the next customers and the next batch of reviews. At first, this feels painfully slow because only a few people are seeing your posts. Only a few people are giving you proof, and only a few people are joining your email list. Over time, this starts to compound. We get more proof. We get more sales, we get more leads. One of those leads buys and leaves a great review. That review becomes the next part of proof that becomes a piece of content. I know I'm repeating myself, but you're going to be repeating yourself a lot throughout this process. And it's going to compound over a period of a few weeks or a few months so that you're gathering regular leads and you're building your audience faster. Here's the beauty of making content on the internet. 99% of people who are going to discover you and your business do not know that you exist at the beginning. It might be 99.99%. So during the first 90 days of creating content, You are simply finding your greatest hits. You will post a piece of content that gets 10 views and another that gets 10,000. You will play that game for 90 days. And over that time period, you'll find a few pieces of content or a few ways of saying things that resonates with an audience more than all of the other pieces of content put together. Here's the beauty of that. Once you've done that in one round, you've got your talking points that you can recycle again and again. I published a book in 2020 called 12 Months to 1 Million. And the reason why I published that book was because I never wanted to say 4 products times 25 sales a day at $30 is $1 million business ever again. I just never wanted to say the math formula ever again. That backfired. Why? Because a lot of people bought that book. It sold hundreds of thousands of copies. And now I tell you a math formula over and over again because it's one of my greatest hits. There are other greatest hits in my pool of content that I know if I say in a different way or I communicate slightly differently is going to get more leads than all the other content pieces. So I find my greatest hits by testing a lot of different pieces of content. You will do the same thing as you are running this flywheel process. And as a result of doing so, you'll build a list of people who want your product. You'll gather a truckload of proof, and you'll have content that is building the audience that sets you up to launch the next product and also gather the next batch of reviews that will feed the rest of the machine. That was a bit of a word salad. There's a lot of details in that. So let's zoom out a little bit. When we've got proof that's going out consistently and we're getting eyeballs on that content and we're building leads from that, we've got more assets with. What are those assets? Well, the next time we do an email to our list and we run a promotion for our product, we're gonna have more leads that read that email. So every promotion gets a little bit better. So one of the things that I require my clients and partners to do is to send at least one email a week
just about where you're at in the company or what's going on, and to do one promotion
every month. A promotion is like a mini launch. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A promotion could be a discount, it could be a bonus, or it could be a review solicitation. It could be an ask for reviews. It can be anything that stimulates more momentum to build this machine. So we email our list at least once a week and we do a promotion at least once a month. The beauty of this is that every month the list gets a little bit bigger. The audience gets a little bit bigger. The feedback that we get, the number of reviews that we get gets a little bit greater. So we have more to work with. The more that you do this, the more followers you have on your social media accounts. The more you do this, the bigger your email list gets. The more sales you get, which means more reviews. So it gets bigger and bigger as it compounds. That flywheel of gathering proof, posting content, and bringing it back to our lead capture page is the first part of the machine that takes us to 25 sales a day. A question that comes up in this part of the process is, what the heck do I talk about every single day? And the mistake that people make is trying to talk about their product every single day. It is very hard to fire up the phone and record a new piece of content that talks about your product. Look how great it is, and the pills are easy to swallow, and the cream goes right on your skin. It's boring to make, it's boring to watch. How do you make this new and fresh? How do you do this in a way that is energizing and new every day? Well, the wrong way to do it is to talk about your product every day. The right way to do it is to talk about your person every day. How do you talk about your person every day in a way that doesn't feel boring? The best way to do that is to talk to your person. That's why gathering proof is one of the easiest and most persuasive ways to make content. Because if you get a great review and then you do a piece of content talking about the review or talking about the conversation that you had with that person and how they shared with you how they were using the product, that is a much more engaging piece of content than just talking about why the product is great. We focus on talking to the person, and that gives us our talking points for how we communicate with the rest of our audience. That's why it's so important to spend 30 minutes gathering proof. We will get insights from the customer that will serve how we create our content. And we'll do it in a way that is persuasive enough for them to either purchase or to join our email list. So the first part of the machine is gathering proof and posting the proof. The second part of the machine, the second hour of our day, is building relationships. That is all about people. I invite clients and partners to reach out to a minimum of 3 people a day that can support them on their business. This is building our network. Reaching out to people may look like reaching out to the new followers on Instagram and just asking how they discovered your work. It might look like reaching out to 3 bloggers who write about content in your space and introducing yourself. It might look like reaching out to 3 content creators that have 5,000 to 10,000 followers and offering to send them a free sample of your product. All of these are effective for building the network of people who will support your business. I've seen some of the most effective uses of this by reaching out to customers and reaching out to content creators. When you reach out to customers, you open up the door for a relationship with a super fan. That super fan may write a really positive review for you, or they may come back and buy from you again and again because they feel like they have a connection to you. When you reach out to a content creator who has a few thousand followers and you send them a sample of your product, you have a shot at getting a free piece of content that is a good piece of proof. If someone records a piece of content showing the product and how much they like it, that is another piece of proof that we add into that folder that we might share publicly on our page or put on our Amazon listing or put on our sales page. The more that we are gathering that proof, the more that we are building relationships with people, the more that we are building our network, and the more that we are stacking the deck to get more proof in the future. That makes content creation much easier, and it makes more people want to join our email list. So let me zoom out and recap to this point, because I know that we're deep in the details here. The flywheel process is gathering proof, posting that proof, and bringing it back to our email list. With the second half of our day, we're reaching out to 3 people that we want to build as part of our network. That is customers, content creators. It might also be vendors or agencies that we might want to work with in the future. On top of that, we're emailing our list once a week and doing 1 promotion a month. That process almost always takes you to 25 sales a day. Maybe not right away, maybe not after 30 days, but if you do that for 90 days, you've got a really good shot of having that product do about $1,000 a day in sales. I've seen it happen over and over again. Here's an example that comes to mind. This is Alina. Alina launched her first product in December of 2023, and she had a fairly successful launch by following the process that I've shared in this series so far. Once her launch was complete, she put her energy into gathering feedback and proof from her audience, and she shared that proof publicly on her social media pages. She's in the dog care space, so people were sharing photos of their dog and also doing videos showing how they were using the product. She made the customer the hero in the story, which encouraged other people to participate in that story and to join her email list. As she continued to do this, within about 60 to 90 days, she was doing 25 sales a day consistently, and it grew from there. Recently, Alina shared with us that she had crossed $80,000 a month in her business with 1 product. She didn't move on to product 2, 3, and 4. She got to 80 grand a month with 1 product. Now she's in a position where she can choose, do I double down on this 1 product? Or do I launch a second product because I've got all these followers, I've got this email list, I've got all these customers, I know the process of getting reviews. I now have a machine that I can turn onto product number 2. She's also put herself on payroll. She can now pay herself to be a full-time entrepreneur as she runs this business. She's now a full-time entrepreneur as a result of doing this process for about 6 months. And now she's in striking distance of having a $1 million brand. Another example is Ty Mayfield. Ty followed the process of building a small audience and launching his first product in May of 2023. He had a great launch, did about $10,000 in sales in his first 30 days. Then once the launch was over, there wasn't so much momentum. So he put his attention into getting reviews, turning those reviews into proof, and building his audience. He's doing that work right now. We looked up his business as we were recording this video and saw that he's at 89 reviews, but he's milking every single one of those reviews. He's turning them into content and he's building his audience as a result of gathering as much proof as possible. Ty is at about 20 sales a day. So he's right on the cusp of being at 25 sales a day. He's right there. What does he need to do in order to close that gap of having a consistent 25 sales a day? He needs to continue building this flywheel process until his audience is big enough and his repeat customers are big enough that he's got 25 consistent sales a day. He doesn't need to add any new marketing strategies. He doesn't need to go spend money on influencers or agencies. He just needs to continue building the flywheel and he'll be at 25 sales a day within a month or two. I sometimes joke that when I'm working with a client or mentoring someone who's building $1 million business, that 80% of my job is telling them what not to do. It is so easy to get distracted by what is working for everybody else. My strategy is to go really deep in one lane. And that lane looks like building small audiences and creating relationships with them, cultivating raving fans, and turning them into reviews and positive feedback that we use to build the rest of the machine. And that machine looks like posting content, building our list, and doing regular promotions to that email list. There's one more thing that you can add to this step of the process that will take you to 25 sales a day. And that one additional thing is considering pay-per-click traffic. Once you've got reviews and you've proven that you will take those reviews and turn them into content and build your audience, it might make sense to have a budget for pay-per-click advertising. This is on either Amazon, Google, or Meta. You'll pick whatever is working the best, and you might reserve a few bucks a day to make the machine happen faster. Some people try to run pay-per-click as their primary strategy. And to do that, they're running at a loss for a long time. They're losing money in order to get customers so that those customers become repeat customers and become reviews. For example, Logan Carodi runs a brand called Physician's Choice. He gave a presentation at one of our recent events called the Capitalism Conference, where he shared how he built a 9-figure company in a very saturated space. What he shared on stage was that he wasn't profitable until they had $20 million in top-line revenue. He was losing millions of dollars en route to building a profitable company. Now, if you can do that, I have no idea why you're watching my videos. If you can do that, mazel tov. Go into any space you want and dominate with pay-per-click. But if you're a solopreneur who is en route to your first $1 million business, the purpose of pay-per-click, the purpose of advertising is to make the machine grow faster. That machine is building relationships and leads and positive feedback that you will use as content. Then when you advertise a piece of content that is working, you know that it is going to turn into more leads and customers. If you have a base of reviews, at least 100, when you turn on pay-per-click, it will convert at a rate that is sustainable, and you'll know how to turn those sales into more reviews so that your conversion rate goes up and your profits compound over time. As I'm recording this, I'm a little worried that I'm so in the weeds that I've lost you at this point. But this is how a machine is built. It looks like the nitty-gritty stuff that you get good at and better at over 90 days. When you first start making content, it's probably gonna suck. Please don't go watch my old videos. Please don't go watch me making content 10 years ago. It's terrible. I sucked at it. We all suck when we start. The first time that you go interact with a customer, it's gonna feel awkward. But after doing it for 60 to 90 days, you'll have some muscle memory that makes it easier for you to get reviews. Your content will be a little bit better. The first time you write an email to your list, it's gonna feel weird. And it's also gonna feel like no one's listening. This is the time that you get to Make all the mistakes with hardly anybody noticing. You can make the piece of content that sucks and no one will see it. You can interact with the customer and it can be awkward and it won't affect the business. But if you practice it for 60 to 90 days, people will start to see it because you'll be better at it. When you build the flywheel, you build the audience, you build your leads, and you build relationships. And you make it go faster by running pay-per-click on what is already working. One quick note about using advertising to grow faster. One mistake that entrepreneurs make is that they use money or advertising to make things that are not working start to work. So a piece of content doesn't get a whole lot of views, so they boost it to get more visibility. Or a product isn't converting, so they run pay-per-click traffic to get more visibility on it. That is the wrong way to do it. The way to use advertising as you're on the road to 1 million is to amplify what is working. When you're testing content every day, you will find certain ones that hit. And we determine if something is hitting based on how much feedback and how many leads that piece of content is creating. When we've got something that is creating leads or sales, those are the pieces of content that we might boost. Those are the pieces of content that we might save as an ad to run forever and ever, amen. When we have enough reviews that our conversion rate is high, that's when we run pay-per-click because we'll get more visibility on Amazon or Walmart or Google or Shopify. We amplify what's working, not what's broken. If something is not working, we go back to the flywheel process. Nothing converts better than proof. You don't need to be a good copywriter. You don't need to be a ninja marketer. You do need to be good at finding proof and showcasing it to your potential customers. The simplest yet most effective sales pages are the ones with a whack ton of proof. If lots of other people say that your product worked for them, that will be a high converting sales page. Even if your headline sucks and your colors don't match, it doesn't matter. Proof is the most persuasive form of marketing. And if you get good at that, everything else will work better. Okay, that was a lot of details. How do we put this into a daily plan? If you've got 2 hours a day to work on your business, the first 30 minutes are gathering proof. And the second 30 minutes is turning that proof into a piece of content that we will link back to our lead capture page. If you don't know what that is, go back and watch step 2 of this 8-part process. With the second half of our day, the second hour, we're building relationships by reaching out to people in our network. That will start as customers who are opting into our lead capture or who are following us on social media. It then might expand out to content creators or other strategic contacts that we think could help us in the future. Once a week, we email our list, and once a month, we run a promotion. Those pieces of the machine, the flywheel, building relationships, and emailing our list, will put us in striking distance of 25 sales a day. The only other thing that we might consider at this stage of the process is running advertising to what is already working. That's your process. That's what you're doing for the next 90 days until you're at 25 sales a day. And it will start off slow, but it will compound. One sale becomes a review, which becomes a piece of content, which turns into leads, which gets you more sales. Those sales get you more reviews, which turn into more content, which get you more leads. And one of those pieces of feedback becomes an ad that you amplify, and now you're at 25 sales a day. That's the process. Stay in that lane until you've got 25 sales a day. At that point, we've built the highway. The highway is a list of people that want our product. The highway is the process of gathering proof. The highway is the system for getting reviews. The highway is the eyeballs that are seeing our content. Now what can happen is we can release more products. And that will get to 25 sales a day much faster because we have the eyeballs and the email leads and the connections to be able to launch that product and get it to 25 sales a day much faster. Let me give you one little preview of how all of this unfolds. When you launch product number 2, it will be a fresh opportunity to get feedback and exposure to audiences that did not buy product number 1. They will buy the second product and discover your first one. And in my case, when we thought that we had plateaued at 25 sales a day, we broke through that plateau once we launched product number 2. In fact, at the height of our business, that product that we thought capped out at 25 sales a day was doing 200 sales a day. That was because we had built a flywheel. People found product number 3, and then they came into the machine and discovered product number 1, and they bought it. Those people left reviews, which increased our conversion rate, and on the machine goes. So we get to 25 a day, but it probably won't stay there. In the next videos, we're gonna talk about how to stack the deck to make sure that the next products get to 25 sales a day much faster, and you have a very strong foundation to withstand $1 million business. So what do you think? $1,000 a day in 2 hours a day? Is that possible? If you follow this process, can you get there? Let me know what you thought in the comments of this video, or you can email me at ryan@capitalism.com. And if you need help running through this process, the best next step for you is to download our playbook and our free resources over at capitalism.com/playbook. This is the write-up of all the details of how this 8-step process works, plus a free 15-day course about how to implement it, along with case studies that will show you that it's possible. You can get that at capitalism.com/playbook. I'm Ryan Daniel Moran with capitalism.com. We help entrepreneurs build $1 million businesses and have multi-million-dollar exits. And getting to 25 sales a day is the biggest milestone to when you will believe that it's possible for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.